look at finding the area of a circle. So the formula we're going to use is A equals pi r squared, where r stands for the radius of the circle. Now the radius of a circle, remember, it comes from the center of the circle straight directly out to one of the edges. It can go in any direction as long as it goes from the center to the edge. The diameter goes all the way across, so it is double the radius. We need to make sure that we have the radius and not the diameter when we're finding the area. So the area of this first circle here is going to be pi, which has an approximate value of about 3.14 times 5 squared. I'm just going to use your calculator to figure that out. So we're going to type in the shift key down to pi times 5 squared equals, my calculator comes up with 25 pi. If I just press my decimal button, I get 78.5. 78.5. When we write the answer like 25 pi, the answer that I just got on my calculator, that's because 5 squared is 25. And this is how we write it, as we say, in terms of pi. Sometimes people want an exact answer, and it's impossible to write an answer that anything that you've times by pi, you can't get that exactly. It's an irrational number, it goes on forever. So if we want an exact answer, we have to use the pi symbol in the answer. So A for this one, 78.5 square meters. As we said, we need to use the radius, even if we're given the diameter. So the radius of this circle is 6. So we're going to do pi times 6 squared. And that's going to give us, if we wanted our answer in terms of pi, we could get 36 pi. Or again, we could type into our calculators, just type in shift and the times 10 key, which has the pi symbol above it, times 6 squared, 36 pi, or 113. 113.1, rounding to one decimal place. Now, this last one at the bottom here is a semicircle. A semicircle is half a circle. So if we want to find the area of half a circle, we just need to think about how would we find the area of that whole circle. So for this one, we'll start with pi. We're going to times it by the radius squared. The radius of this will be 10, half of 20. And then we're just going to multiply by whatever fraction of the circle we have, in this case 1/2. So typing that in, we'll end up with, well, 10 squared is 100, times it by 1/2 is 50. I'm going to leave this one in terms of pi as 50 pi. Okay, this next example here is a sector. A sector is like a pizza slice. So if you imagine you had a circle and you sliced out a piece of pizza, where this is the center and these are both the radius, we have a sector. So to find the area of a sector, we're going to start like we did with the semicircle, pi times the radius squared, 10 squared. We're just going to multiply by the fraction of the circle that we have. So we know we have 55 degrees. That's out of a total 360 possible degrees, because in a circle there are 360 degrees. So then, working that out, shift the times 10 button to get pi, times 10 squared, times fraction key 55 over 360 equals 47.996, to round up to 48. 48. And I should be writing square units at the end of that. Finally, we'll just do a composite shape. So a composite shape might look like this. It'll have a couple of parts composed together. So for instance, we've got here a rectangle with a semicircle. Let's say that this side was 8 and this side was 12. We'd need to break that into two areas. So our rectangle and our semicircle. Area 1, just a rectangle, so we multiply the sides. 8 times 12, 96. Area 2 is going to be pi times the radius of this semicircle. So if we look over here, we've got the diameter. That diameter is going to be 8, which means the radius is going to go from halfway across. It's going to be 4, so pi times 4 squared times by 1/2, because we have 1/2 of a circle. I'm going to leave this in terms of pi. So we'll end up with 1/2 times 16 is 8. That's going to be 8 pi. And then we'll need to work out our total area. That's going to be 8 pi plus 96. And then we can type it into our calculator. Now, we don't want to type that in too early, because we can end up with rounding errors if we do that. So I've gotten 121.1. The problem is sometimes if you round off here, if you type in all of this and then you get a rounded answer, and maybe if this one had a rounded answer as well and you added those two rounded answers, that creates what we call a rounding error. So we need to round off right at the very end and only round off once. That's how we find areas of circles, sectors, and